Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm putting together a succulent arrangement in this really sweet planter for outside, and it's been quite a long time since I've done a succulent arrangement. I'm excited about this one because when I do any kind of arrangement for outside, it always does better than my arrangements inside because one, they usually get the proper light, they're getting the proper airflow. I'm a little bit more in tune with my outside plants than I am with my indoor plants, especially this time of year. In fact, I had this planter, which this is called the Charleston Basket Boy, I think, from Unique Stone. I've had this for several years and I've had it inside. And last night I was looking at it and I just said, Erin, I think I should put it out in the flower bed somewhere and we should pop some succulents in it. I don't even need to run a drip system to it because it will need so little watering, especially if I put it in the right amount of light. I think it's going to be really fun. So I had, let's see, what did I have in here last? I think it was African violets. I showed you guys the way it looked in a couple videos. I think in our African violet care video, as well as when I took it apart when the African violets needed to be separated. And then after that, I haven't had anything in it. It's just been sitting there empty. So the beauty of this container is that the basket part or the container part, I was gonna say easily lifts off, usually does. So it lifts off, there's a drain hole in the bottom and then it sits right here on this little peg and it's not watertight, so water still drains out of it, but it's a big enough peg to keep this in place. And then on the inside, I have this little piece of window screen. I have used coffee filters in the past, which I still use, but the window screen is really nice because it doesn't break down and it keeps the soil inside the container. So what I do, still have some soil left in it. Supposed to clean your containers before you plant new things in them, but I put the little window screen right over the drain hole like that and it works really well. So I'm just going to put this right back here. Now let me explain this location because it does look very shaded right now, and today's been kind of a weird, like overcast and then sunny and then overcast and then sunny day. This is typically a really bright spot with morning sun and then a little bit of filtered sun through the day, and then it's got protection. You can see this juniper, maybe I think you can see this juniper right to the left of me, that provides some break from the harsh afternoon sun. And when you're dealing with succulents, a lot of times, like, you think they can handle full sun, and many of them can, but some of them can't. Like, they tend to burn in the full sun, especially in our high desert where it gets extremely hot typically, and there isn't much protection in form of humidity or cloud cover to protect them. And I am planning on using some Echeverias in here today, so I wanted to put them in a spot that I think that they'll be happy. But the other reason I'm happy that this is a detachable top, which I'm need to line it up, there we go, is that if I need to move this to a more sunny spot, I can do that. So I do have a table full of my supplies right to my right here, and it's just like a kind of an inconvenient spot to put all my stuff on the ground. So I'm going to drag this table in so it's right here, and then I'll talk you through my arrangement. All I really need for this arrangement are my succulents and my succulent soil, which this is the soil I'm using and have been using for a lot of years. And whether or not you are doing a succulent arrangement inside or outside, you want to make sure you're using the proper soil because succulents and cactus both want a very fast draining soil. And I'm just going to leave like a couple inch lip here because I do have a lot of root balls I'm going to be dealing with, so I'll need to accommodate for those. I do tend to like to really pack my succulent containers full, which I'll kind of talk through that as I'm doing it. And then I've got a variety of succulents over here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see all of them, but I'll just show you a few. Like, I found these 6-packs right here of Echeverias, as well as 6 packs of Graptosedums, and I feel like this is a really economical way to buy your succulents if you can find them that way. And then I got some bolder things. So we've got an Echeveria this one's a Echeveria assorted. There's no variety name given, but I thought that would be a really pretty bold statement. And then I also, which I don't know if I'm going to actually use this, but this is a really beautiful agave right here. This is called a twin flower agave. And I almost feel like I want to put this in a pot all by itself so it can just shine. I think it's really beautiful. I couldn't help myself. But then I've just got a smattering of other succulents that you'll see kind of make an appearance here. And what I want to do is I kind of want it to be, you know, taller in the center. You can see this planter in our garden from all directions. So I do want it to look good from all different sides. So I'm going to start with some smaller succulents on the front side here. And this is the type here. You can see I pulled these out of a different arrangement that I had inside. I'm going to be popping these dried leaves here off the bottom, which this is normal for a succulent to do. They just, as they age and grow, some of their lower lying leaves start to dry up, and that is to be expected. This one is starting to bloom, but I want this one to kind of like be tipped like this So I put the root ball in, and then I make sure to pack soil around it. And then as I build my arrangement, the top of the root ball will also be covered. So then I'm gonna go in with something that's different in structure and color. Ooh, I gotta move this agave. It's gonna poke me every time I reach over this table here. Hold on. Okay, this is a Crassula right here. And I have really, really good luck with this type of plant. I have these in a terrarium inside, and they're doing wonderfully. So I'm just going to knock off a lot of the soil on the root ball, which these plants do not mind it whatsoever. So you can see a little bit of roots falling, or not falling, but hanging down there. And I'm gonna pack this one right next to my Echeveria and do the same thing. I know when we do sped up versions of these succulent arrangements, you can't really see like the intricacies of how to put these things together and how much soil is actually making it between each plant. So I hope this is helpful to kind of see it in a little bit slower motion here. Now I feel like I need a little bit of red. And if you've got any of these leaves that are fallen down, that have fallen down in the container, or if you need to pop any of the lower leaves off, you can save those to propagate later on. So I'm just gonna stack this one. Let me see if I can twist this bowl. See if you can see that right there. See the two root balls of these plants? I'm gonna stack this Graptosedum right on top like that. And I'm basically gonna continue doing that until I've got like kind of a mound going on in the center, all the way up to the centerpiece. When you pack succulents in this close, they don't tend to put on as much growth as quickly. So you really can get away with quite a lot of time between having to do any repotting, just normal grooming, usually for about a year. Now it might be a little less time when you have them outside. They tend to grow a little bit faster because they're getting the requirements that they need in terms of light and water and such. And they just tend to flourish a little better outside. But it's still, you should get lots of months out of them before having to take them apart. Next is this Portulacaria variegata. I love this. It's like the rainbow elephant bush, I think is the other name for it. But typically, like, you can take them out of their containers and you can separate them all apart if you want to, like that. And you know, actually, I think I might do that so that I can use a little bit more of this bright color on the other side. Because of that white variegation, it just really pops. We'll just stack that right in there. You can cover some of their stems with soil as well, because those stems will produce roots. How's that looking from the front? Is it looking good? I think on this side, I'll try to twist this as we go. It really does fit on this peg a certain way. I should have done from back to front, huh? Shoot. Thinking like this big Echeveria right here. It's a neat looking one. I don't know the name of this one. I'll try to find a name, but isn't that pretty? Boy. Okay, so I've created a well in the center there. And I want this to be as low as possible. In fact, I'm gonna knock some of the soil off the root ball of this one as well. I need to do another layer between this tall one and the shorter ones because I can't get it down quite as far as I want it to be, which is totally fine. That means I'll probably use this one right here. This is a Panda Plant right here, Kalanchoe or Kalanchoe if you live in my area, that's how we pronounce it. This is kind of a good medium-sized height. So I'm gonna break this apart. See how that just comes apart so easy? Line these up on the table here. That makes it a lot easier to tuck them in. So I'm gonna tuck this one right in between. Oh yeah. But look at that. Isn't that the perfect bridge right there between my lower ones and this taller one? I think it is. Go with this one right here. So I want a little bit of red right down in here. So I've got some other Graptosedum. Nope, this is actually a Sedum, I think, a Sedum variety. The other one I used was a Graptosedum. I could have probably used less soil in the beginning too. Let's just drop this down in here, see if how we need to arrange it. Oh, that looks pretty, I think. I basically, as I go and stick these plants in, I just make sure that all the root balls are tightly placed and that they all end up with soil around their roots, whether or not, like this one right here, I stuck it way down in there, like the root's actually here, but I can bury it. You can see the soil up to here and the plant will be completely fine. and it'll even form new roots along that stem. And then it looks the way I want it to look. That's why I like succulents so much. They conform very nicely. Now I feel like I need something bold, maybe that big Echeveria. I'm gonna need to make some room for it. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is remove all the spent leaves on the bottom. You wanna be really careful when you're working with this type of plant not to touch the top of the leaves, because they do create kind of a powdery substance, like a coating on their leaf. And if you touch them, it mars their appearance pretty bad. Like you can see on the underside here, like check this out. So see this leaf here? If I touch it, well, I get dirt on it, but it ruins the powdery, icy blue. It kind of just takes that appearance away. So whatever you do, try your hardest not to touch the top of the plant. And don't touch them when you're at the store. I know it's hard. I see people touching plants all the time and I want to, but avoid it on succulents if you can. This one really didn't have a huge root system, which is good for my purposes. Oh yeah. I don't think I can turn it any more that direction. Maybe I can spin it. There we go. So check that out. Not in there. In there. So pretty. I'm gonna add a little more soil in there so I can pack it around that root ball. I'm just using my fingers to kind of feel around in that area to make sure that I've got it covered. Okay, now I think we need a little bit more Crassula, a little repeat of texture here from the front. I think we've got room for a couple more back here. I'm gonna go Graptosedum. I might do kind of a cluster of these, maybe a cluster of 3. Grouping. A grouping of 3, not a cluster.
What's wrong with cluster?
I don't know. Grouping sounds much more refined than cluster. And I've got one more little blue Echeveria. Okay, and then didn't I have more Portulacaria? Did I use it all? No. Oh, here it is. So this is that little piece I broke off of the Portulacaria there in the beginning. I'm gonna tuck this in, I think, right above that Echeveria. I need to arrange it though to where it looks pleasing. So there you have it. I just want to spin it around carefully because I don't have it properly on its stand, so you can see kind of the mix of colors and textures we have going on here. And they're all compatible plants. They'll all do really well with each other, which is really exciting. I'm excited to see how this one does throughout the season in this spot. I think that it'll be nice to have a very low maintenance planter right in this spot in particular, because right now I'm not having to get the hose out to water much in this area at all. So it'll be nice to maintain that kind of low maintenance space. And then the other nice thing too is that these will all survive inside in the wintertime. Of course, they do the best outside, and that's kind of with all houseplants. With houseplants, we're making some kind of native plant conform to our inside conditions. And while it works with a lot of different plants, they always just flourish when they're outside. But this one would want the brightest spot in your house that you could give it during the winter months. I usually have fairly good luck with them. Here I usually water like outside because we get a lot of wind. I'll probably give them a little dab of water once a week and they'll be just perfectly fine. If, like I said, I need to move them to a sunnier position, I can just pop them right on the other side of our walkway here so that it gets a little bit more morning sun, but I do think it's going to be very, very happy right here. I think this planter is just really sweet. The whole thing. I'm excited. I am excited to stand back and see what it looks like from afar though, because I have really no idea. I'm just kind of looking over the top here. But anyway, that's it for this video. Just thought you guys might like to see this come together since it's been so long since we've worked with succulents. It was a really fun project. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.